This video introduces Cloud License. Cloud License is a protection system to protect software running on any computer or device. It's most applicable towards mobile devices that always have access to the internet. Cloud License can create a variety of different license types, including product licenses, timer execution limited trial licenses, date limited licenses, subscription licenses, or floating licenses. To use Cloud License, your application needs a couple basic things. It needs access to the internet. It must be able to send a URL using an internet HTTP GET command, and the response string that comes back from that command, the application needs to do some simple conditional logic to determine if the license has been activated. There's no software to distribute with your application or purchase in order to use Cloud License, but you will need an account on Safe Activation Service 3 to get started. Here we have an application running on a Mac to demonstrate the activation process using Cloud License. We'll launch the application and an activation dialog is presented. The user will type a serial number received during the purchase process. Other information can be entered into the dialog and it's collected into the Safe Activation account. These fields are configurable by the vendor when setting up the license. Once activated, the main screen of the application is presented. If the user launches the application again, the license is validated and immediately presented on the screen. The vendor may choose to allow their software to be securely moved between devices with the release restore process. To demonstrate this, we'll click the release button and the software is blocked on this device. The software is now available for installation on another device and can be activated with the same serial number. If the software is not installed somewhere else or has been released on that device, it can be used on this device again. Normally, when launching, the block license message is presented. In order to release the license, hold down the Shift key and click OK, and it runs the restore command. And now the application is fully available again. Cloud License comes with a user guide that contains a reference chapter describing each command, a tutorial to get you started, and a description of the Cloud App project that we just looked at. That Cloud App project is available in source format so that you can download the Zojo environment and try it free on Mac, Windows, or Linux. The programming environment within Zojo is somewhat like Visual Basic, and let's just take a quick look at this project. If we look at the Open Event Handler for the main Cloud App window, we see that it calls either the reset method or the start method. And the start method has the bulk of the logic within this little application. In the start method, we basically look if the application has already been activated. If not, present an activation dialog. Otherwise, validate the license by calling some of the other commands. And we'll take a look at the activation dialog itself. It just presents a dialog that collects some information from the user and then sends that to Safe Activation with the Cloud App Activate command. That's the basics of Cloud App application, which is further described in that chapter of the user guide. In addition to adding a little scripting or programming within your application to call the commands within Cloud License, you'll need to set up a few screens in your Safe Activation account. The tutorial describes exactly how to do that. Let's take a quick look. Here's the screen where we can generate a batch of serial numbers assigned to a certain group and determine how many unique devices can be activated with that serial number. We'll take a look at a screen that allows us to collect information from the user during the activation process, and we'll set checkboxes about what fields we want to collect. And then finally, we'll look at a screen that's used to actually activate the application. This screen has some checkboxes. For example, it requires serial number for activation, and it enables the license release restore process. It also references a group of serial numbers that are used for the activation process, and it references a specific form that's used to collect the data in the activation dialog. And finally, we can set up the type of license that we want to generate. Remember, Cloud License can support a lot of different license types. Here we just have a simple product license that, once activated, runs forever on that device. Once we've set up this information, we're then ready to go with our application. We've applied Cloud License to a simple iPhone app. First, we'll try to run the app before we activate. And when we click the Hello button, we see that the application has not yet been activated, so let's go ahead and activate it. That activation information is behind the License button. We'll fill in the activation screen. Click the Activate Now button, and we can see the application has been activated, so we can go back and use the application. If we decide we want to move the application to a different device, we can go back to our licensing screen and click the Release button. It's now been blocked from this device, and it can be installed and activated with the same serial number on a different device. Here we see it's blocked. If later we decide we want to use it again on this device, we can click the Restore button, and it's activated again. And now we can use the application. Here we see Cloud License applied to the splash screen of an Android application. Currently, the application is not activated. The first time we attempt to start the application, an activation dialog will be presented. After entering the information into the activation dialog, we'll tap on the Activate button. Once activated, the application is presented. Here's the main screen of the application. Each launch thereafter, the application is immediately presented. If the user decides to release the license from this device and activate on a different device with the same serial number, they can do so using the release process. Here we see the license has been blocked, and if we attempt to launch the same application on this device, we see that the license is still blocked. If the user decides to restore the license back to this device, they can do so with the restore process. And now when we launch the application, it's available again. The actual interface on your own Android application would be somewhat different, but the code behind the buttons will essentially be the same. In this video, we've shown how Cloud License can be used to protect and license software running on virtually any computer or device. To learn more, go to excelsoftware.com and click on the Protect and License button.